Our third panelist for today, for this session, is going to be Professor Adewale Aregbeshola. He is a professor of international business, finance and strategy at the University of South Africa, which is UNISA.
Thank you very much. When we say why was Africa able to weather this storm of COVID-19 very effectively? Of course, we have to look at the history of Africa itself on the resilience of Africa and African people. There have been quite a number of things that have worked so well for Africa. I want to believe that based on the recent research, weather is one of them. Weather has helped Africa a lot. But more importantly, I think we should look at Africa's resilience in this regard in about 4 critical areas. What have Africa been able to do far better than the rest of the world as far as the response to this COVID-19 is concerned? Let's start with medical. What has Africa been able to do medically that is so different from what the rest of the world has done? It is Africa that started the use of homemade face masks. I mean, because we know that a robust response to COVID-19 will require a lot of money, and the supply channel was limited. So African leaders came up with the proposition that people should start making their own face masks, and it has worked extensively well. Even the president of South Africa, our President Ramaphosa, quite a number of other presidents, I mean, they use homemade masks, which has saved Africa a lot of money, and which to a very large extent has prevented the rate of infection. That is one. Second, it is a known fact today that quite a number of the test kits that we use are imported, but they are increasing research into getting it done more effectively here in Africa. Even as far as ventilators are concerned, there are currently efforts in South Africa and a few other countries to get it done. Now let's look at Ghana, for an instance, and Senegal. The response of Ghana has been very, very tremendous. I mean, Ghana was the first country in the world to start using drones to collect samples. I mean, it speeded up the process of, testing and analysis and things like that. And another thing is the establishment of satellite testing sites, which Ghana has used effectively, and also Senegal has been, a leader in that regard. Now, let's look at the social dynamics of Africa into this COVID thing. The lesson that we learned as Africa from Ebola, which happens to be the first pandemic that will start from Africa, because when you look at it from the plagues of anthems in 430 BC up to Ebola in 2014, more than 90% of all global pandemics have started in the West, either in Europe or America, and in some cases in South America and Asia as well. But in my own thinking, I think Ebola was the first to be recorded in Africa. They said cholera, yes, but it was not originated in Africa. Polio didn't begin in Africa. It began in the United States in 1916. So Ebola touched Africa, and Africa learned so much from Ebola because Africa was able to establish necessary institutions and instruments to fight any pandemic when it arises. And maybe the early response of Africa to a very large extent has prevented the doomsday that was predicted for Africa, whereby some people even said that they see a lot of deaths in the streets of Africa, and that has not happened, and that is not going to happen. That is one. Two, let's look at social dynamics of Africa's response. Because of the strong leadership that was provided in so very many African countries, what happened, this COVID-19 has been able to strengthen Africa's, spirit of giving, which we call Mbutu in South Africa. More importantly, it has strengthened our social capital. Africans see one another as brothers and sisters that need support, and will be able to do that a lot. And community cohesion has been so strong in that people share information so very easily, and people respect, we respect each other's space. We respect what, we know what we know how to do it, and we just respect it. And, I think that is where strong political leadership that my colleagues have mentioned from Uganda and Liberia as well. Strong political leadership has helped Africa a lot in this fight, in that people now have a kind of renewed trust and belief in the political leadership. And I think this is something that the political leadership has to leverage on. There has been a kind of high expectation from citizens, from their leaders. They just want leaders to lead, and they follow very willingly. Of course, there has been some issues of, legal challenges and things like that, but they have been extensively very isolated. When it comes to economic responses of Africa, there is a kind of, preparedness to do what is right and appropriate. And I think it is important that instead of running to international financial institutions for financial support, this is the opportunity for Africa to really take control of its destiny, galvanize financial support throughout Africa. Look at the amount of donations that are flown within the African community to governments to support and facilitate, these interventions. I mean, I think those are the kind of things that are to, be galvanized and leverage upon going forward. Thank you.
Some of the key points that emanated from Prof Aregbeshola's presentation: the issue of resilience, the issue of the genesis of the disease or the pandemic, where it originates. In this case, obviously, we know that COVID-19 virus did not originate from here in Africa, as per the usual norm. The equipment utilized in a sense, in a form of prevention, and the issue of testing kits as well came out. Of course, once more, the lessons that have been learned from previous incidents of pandemics. The issue of political leadership is also a thread that has been coming out from even the first panelists, and how trust has been rebuilt because of the willingness or the availability of the political leadership to engage and to be out there informing its people by way of protecting them. Professor Aregbeshola, the question that I would like you to answer would be the question of how organizations, in the sense of multinationals and private business, have been coming on board and getting involved in this issue of trying to solve or to fight the pandemic.
Thank you very much, Sakani. When we discuss multinational corporations, the general belief is that multinational corporations are in Africa to do Africa any good. Of course, as a professor of international business, I know that is not the case. I mean, they are here to do business, and they are here to make money, and they are here to take as much advantage as possible and give it very, very limited back. But anyway, as far as COVID-19 response is concerned, the multinational corporations, to a very large extent, have not been forthcoming, except in a few isolated cases, like in the case of Volkswagen in South Africa. They have decided to build some makeshift hospitals in Port Elizabeth. Except for that, there has not been anything from them. And, but that shouldn't be the case. How about the African domestic businesses? Of course, a lot has been done by domestic businesses, and that is what I think government should focus on. Africans will do everything possible to safeguard and to protect Africa and to promote Africa. And that is why you see so very many domestic businesses have come up across Africa, like Dangote in Nigeria, like our Sundowner here in South Africa, and so very many other places across Africa. Domestic business people have come up vehemently to support Africa, and they have galvanized their resources to do that. But less could be said about multinational corporations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof.